I know that Einstein has said that repeating the same thing and expecting a different result is a definition of insanity. But I disagree. I think that's a definition of optimism. And insanity, I will repeat really, insanity, I think, is rejoicing in somebody else's misery, is turning upside down the basic realities of life. We rejoice in somebody's fortune, not their misery. And I think Suella Braverman's dream, when you compare Suella Braverman's dream with the wonderful dream of Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King's dream was positive and life enriching, life enhancing. Suella Braverman's dream is miserable, squalid, and unpleasant. Martin Luther King's dream is a definition of sanity and hope and optimism. Suella Braverman's dream is, I think, a definition of misery, contempt, and insanity. I know there are people coming to our country who do not belong here. I know there are illegal immigrants. Anybody who comes to our country without proper papers and who doesn't appeal for asylum is automatically an illegal immigrant and should be expelled. Anybody who appeals for asylum, while we are still signatories to the 1951 Refugee Convention, must be treated appropriately. And if we cannot process the paperwork in time, then it is our problem, not theirs. Now, there's a very good case for saying that we need to renegotiate that 1951 convention. Maybe many other European countries and countries around the world would agree that this convention is in need of redefinition. But until that happens, or until we withdraw from that convention altogether, we cannot summarily define anybody who arrives on our shores by inappropriate means as an illegal immigrant. They're not an illegal immigrant. The 1951 Convention allows for people to arrive in the UK or wherever by whatever means they can and to then claim asylum. We cannot dictate the way in which they arrive at our shores under that convention. If we don't like the convention, we need to redefine it. Suella Braverman is enough of a lawyer to know exactly what I'm talking about, and she's playing games with the law and games with international conventions if she thinks that this is something that can be legislated away in the British Parliament. It can't. It can't. In the same way, the Northern Ireland Protocol cannot be legislated away in the British Parliament. We are setting ourselves up in defiance of international convention and international law if we follow either of these paths. I think that was the undoing of Mr. Johnson in the end. I think this is how history will judge him. And it's the undoing of Liz Truss. I think it's also the undoing of Theresa May. These three people have all believed that changing the language of our bureaucracy is going to change reality. It isn't. Bureaucracy reflects reality. It doesn't dictate reality. And if we're going to change our laws, if we're going to change international laws, we have to change them with international agreement. It's so simple, and I'm really quite tired of listening to people pontificate about what is and what is not illegal. It's defined in law. And, you know, it's really good. There's a wonderful film based on a play called A Man for All Seasons. And in it, Thomas More defines law as something which is written down. And if something is not written down, then it can be evaded. And, you may not like the law, but if it's in letters, if it's written down, you work your way around it. And that is what the law is. If the law is badly framed, if the law is badly written, it needs to be rewritten. And if it's an international law, that needs to be done internationally.